Hello everybody, my name is Monique Bailey. I'm a dietitian in practice and I'm also involved in Body 20, and today my focus of sending this message is just to give you guys some advice on your immune system and what you can do in this time. Okay, so firstly, just to start with, what is your immune system and why do we want to keep it as strong as possible during this COVID outbreak? So your immune system is your body's way of preventing any bacterial pathogen entering your system and making you sick. So to help with the immune system, what we can do is to try and make sure that we eat as healthy as we can. And doing this, we have quite a few defense mechanisms to our disposal. So our first defense mechanism that we have is to really focus on what we eat and what we drink. We can, on a daily basis, make sure we get enough water in, that we don't overdo it with the coffee. Coffee as a rule is not bad, but too much coffee can get too much. So the focus would be not more than 3 cups a day, and if you can, to not add any additional sugar to it, and to keep the milk in your coffee a slight bit lower to avoid any phlegm from building up in your sinuses. Your other guide that you have is to really make sure that we all get good rest in, and in this time we all maybe have a little bit more stress on our systems, but we need to try and manage our stress and not feel too stressed. And as possible, for those that can, try and still keep up with some form of physical activity, even if it's in the garden or doing housework or whatever it is that's possible with the activity. In terms of the eating, I would start with a few no-nos and just keep those limited, as they all can have quite a big influence on your immune system. The first definite no-no would be too much gas cool drink. So really try and be conscious of not having gas cool drink. If a person feels like having cool drink, your better option would be some iced tea. A nice initiative that we get on the shelves these days is a cold water infused iced tea bag. So maybe go out and look for that if you guys do go to the shops and have to go buy your groceries. Maybe try to really, limit your intake of having any sugary based drinks. Your iced teas that sugar free is a better option, and then just focusing on your normal tea, or let's call it rooibos tea, drinking rooibos tea, or some flavored infused teas, which are all very nice in the herbal range, and not having too much cool drinks and gas cool drinks specifically. Okay. The other focus that we have is to try and keep our intake of sugar as low as possible, and to really not have too much white based stuff, white flour based products. Focus more on a brown bread if you have to eat bread, or a low GI based bread, or even some rye bread or ciabatta. The ciabatta is a sourdough bread, which is also a really nice option to have, and something that you would be able to include in a healthy based eating plan. Then also to try and make sure we get in some fruits. In this time it's difficult to always have fresh fruits available, but as possible try and make sure you still aim at least having 2 fruits a day, moderate in size, not too big, just to manage the amount of fruit sugars that we get in, but a moderate sized apple, pear, or a smallish banana, or a small bunch of grapes. They are all great options and really good to still include on a daily basis in your eating plan. The other definite thing we want to do is to try and up our intake of vegetables. Start each dish as much as you can with ginger, garlic, and onions, to really focus on getting those prebiotic fibers in, which you get in ginger, garlic, and onions. Really try and make as much healthy foods and experiment with foods now. We have a little bit more time on our hands to maybe try and make a few interesting dishes, some curries, some Indian cooking, as they all have such nice colors and flavors in them. But to really make sure that the intake of ginger, garlic, onions is in your food on a daily basis, as well as a lot of veggies. The more vegetables, the better. If you are limited and you need to and you need to go over to frozen veg, it's still better than not having veg at all. We always feel fresh is slightly, more nutritious, but we don't feel that frozen veg is a definite no-no, especially in these times. Having veg is much more important than the way that you get them in, which is fresh versus frozen. The next thing that we can definitely do on a daily basis is to make sure that we eat 3 good meals, to have a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner, and to try and keep our structure, because I think in this time it's going to be very easy for us to fall off a routine and not eat regularly and focused on a breakfast, lunch, and supper kind of plan. So to make sure we get in a good breakfast, a good plan would be to have oats, to have maybe some cinnamon and some cocoa in your oats, which is good nutrient boosters. Cinnamon to keep your blood glucose levels controlled. the cocoa in it is lots of minerals, magnesium, zinc, and selenium that you add, as well as if you've got available at home to add some seeds into your oats as a very good way to make up and to zhuzh up your oats and give you more nutritional value from the portion of oats that you're having. Another definite thing to do is to make sure that we get enough protein. So eggs can be a very good breakfast option. So to maybe vary between having your oats and your eggs, one morning oats, one morning eggs, and then definitely to eat some form of fish, or if it needs to be tinned, some tuna and even some sardines. The sardines are still a very healthy one to do, and gives you a lot of essential nutrients. And then also just to get in some good sources of protein and lots of veg. In terms of your starch, try to focus more on having your resistant starches like your sweet potato and your butternut, your pumpkin, a potato that's been cooled down, or even some gem squash or your millies or your peas. These are all resistant starches and much better options than having your white rice or your pastas and stuff like that. The next definite thing that we want to try and do in this time is to make sure that we eat some snacks but focus on healthy snacks. Snacking can be something that's so easy. If you have a pack of chips available or some dips and stuff, it's going to be very easy to snack on those. So maybe try and see if it's not possible to have some carrot sticks with some hummus as a dip or some cottage cheese as a dip. That's if you've got these stuff available. Or even maybe to do, some, cherry tomatoes or cucumber sticks. Any of your crudité-based vegetables with a healthy dip, mostly being hummus, or you can do a little bit of a yogurt and pesto mixture. You're plain yogurt with some olive pesto, or to do some cottage cheese, or some avo, mashed avo, like a guacamole, if there is avo available, as avo is quite seasonal, but it seems that the avos are coming in again at this stage. The next thing to do is to try and really be conscious of not having too much chips, as chips is still a very high saturated fat food. And if you have, try and make sure your portion that you're having is smaller and that you try and step away from the pack if you can. The next definite thing is if you need a treat, maybe look at having some dark chocolate, as dark chocolate is a very healthy treat to do, and the magnesium and the zinc and the selenium, the minerals that you're getting from your cocoa beans, are all very healthy in your chocolate, but to still look at your portion and not overdo it on the chocolate. So this is my advice for today on the immune system and just staying healthy out there. I hope you guys all have vitamin C available to drink over this time, and the focus would be to talk about this a little bit more, which I will do in the new week. Speak to you guys soon. Bye bye.